The storm blasted in like a freight train just after the witching hour, hammering the windows of a lonely little house. Perched at the edge of a sprawling forest in rural Pennsylvania, 26-year-old Ethan Carter lounged in his living room, scrolling through his phone like a zombie, while an ancient television murmured softly in the background. Suddenly, the power flickered once, then twice, and bam, darkness engulfed everything. Just great, Ethan grumbled, rolling his eyes. All that remained was the relentless drumming of rain and the ominous rumble of thunder shaking the very walls. He fished out a flashlight from a drawer, waiting in the eerie stillness. A few nail-biting minutes later, the electricity jolted back to life. The TV roared back on, but instead of his usual programming, static exploded across the screen. What the hell? Ethan frowned, puzzled. The TV always returned to the last channel after a blackout, but this time it was on channel 13, a channel that was as real as a unicorn. The screen flickered to life with a grainy black and white image of a long, foreboding hallway. Nothing moved. It looked like something out of a creepy old horror flick. Ethan lunged for the remote, but the channel controls refused to cooperate. Every button worked except the one that mattered. In a fit of frustration, he yanked the plug from the wall, but the screen remained defiantly lit. For several agonizing seconds, it glowed back at him. Then, just like that, it went black. Ethan stared, disbelief washing over him. That's impossible. When he plugged it back in, channel 30 reappeared. The hallway was still there, silent, empty, and waiting like a predator. The next evening, Ethan, desperate for some validation, spilled his spooky tale to his buddy Marcus. Marcus cackled like a hyena. Maybe you found yourself a haunted TV, man. Seriously, dude. Ethan shot back. I'm not messing around here. Then you should totally record it. Marcus challenged, a smirk plastered on his face. That night, Ethan set up his phone, ready to capture the madness. As the screen flickered back to life, the hallway materialized once more. But this time, something was off. At the far end stood a dark figure, motionless, too tall, too thin, like something straight out of his nightmares. The figure seemed to be locking eyes with the camera, and a cold shiver crawled up Ethan's spine. Then, in a horrifying twist, the figure took a single step forward, and the screen exploded into a frenzy of static. The TV shut off, plunging the room into a bone-chilling silence. The next morning, Ethan's heart plummeted as he reviewed the recording. There it was, the figure not just on the screen but lurking behind him in his own living room for a split second, just a few feet away. Ethan nearly dropped his phone. He replayed it again and again. The figure was there every time, watching him. That night, Ethan decided to investigate. At exactly 12:13 a.m., Channel 13 appeared again. The hallway looked closer than before, as if the camera had moved forward. A faint sound emerged from the speakers, a whisper, almost impossible to hear. Ethan increased the volume. The whisper grew louder. Come closer. His blood turned cold. The voice sounded familiar, very familiar. It sounded exactly like his own voice. Come closer, Ethan. He backed away from the television. The whisper stopped. Then another voice appeared, a woman's voice, crying, begging, don't let him out. The screen exploded with static. Unable to sleep, Ethan searched online for Channel 13. After hours of digging, he found an old newspaper article from 1987. A local television station had burned down under mysterious circumstances. 13 employees died. One body was never found. The station's final broadcast had come from Studio 13. Since then, rumors claimed strange signals occasionally appeared on abandoned televisions. The broadcasts always ended the same way. The viewer disappeared. No trace, no explanation. Ethan wanted to stop watching, but every night the television turned on by itself. Every night the hallway grew closer. The figure came nearer, day after day, step by step, until eventually Ethan could see its face, or what should have been a face. There were no eyes, no nose, no mouth, only darkness, an empty void where a face should be. On the seventh night, Channel 13 showed something new. A door at the end of the hallway. The dark figure stood beside it, waiting. Then it slowly raised one arm, pointing toward the door. The whisper returned. "Open it." Ethan turned off the TV. The whisper continued, not from the speakers, from somewhere inside the house. "Open it." A floorboard creaked upstairs. Another creak, then another. Someone was walking above him, but Ethan lived alone. Heart pounding, he grabbed a baseball bat and climbed the stairs. The whisper guided him, room by room, until he reached the attic door. The whisper stopped. Silence. Thunder shook the house. Ethan slowly opened the attic. Nothing, just dust and old boxes. Then his flashlight beam landed on something strange. An old television, covered in dust, connected to nothing. The screen suddenly flickered to life. Channel 13. The same hallway, the same door, the same figure. Except now the figure wasn't standing beside the door. It was gone. A sound came from behind him. A slow breathing. Ethan turned. The figure stood at the attic entrance, 7 feet tall, motionless, its face a black void. The flashlight died. Darkness swallowed everything. The whisper returned, directly beside his ear. "Now it's your turn." Neighbors reported hearing a terrible scream that night. Police arrived minutes later. The house was empty. No signs of struggle. No blood. No body. No Ethan. The only piece of discovery found was an old television set cluttering the attic space. Although it's known to still be running, it's also be tuned to the official channel of 30. Subsequently, officers on the scene claimed they observed something quite unusual being displayed on the television screen. The overall scene was a bit grainy and rough, but towards the far end of the hallway do you discover a young and determined individual, far from being safe, pounding desperately on a locked door. Our protagonist was determined to escape this place and to be heard. The young man named Ethan Carter, it seems, has some quite unsettling legendary tales to tell about the frequency of channel 30 occurring during violent storms. And if you happen to stumble upon it someday, whatever follows is entirely up to you. Watch the film until the very end.